The theme tonight is The Truth Comes Out, and we're starting with breaking news, another plane incident, ladies and gentlemen. This time in Houston, Texas, there appeared to be an issue that happened with United Airlines before the plane took off. Luckily, the plane was still grounded. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get into this story, but this speaks volumes. Here we are again. Numerous passengers were evacuated after United Airlines plane after it caught on fire during takeoff. We have a couple of images to show you here, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the first one. Check this out.
Come on, please remain seated until further instructions from the captain. Oh my God. Please get us on. So sorry, this is jet.
Luckily, it wasn't in the air. Let me see if I can find the one again where it's on fire. You guys can see it. It's the engine.
Please remain seated until further instructions from the captain.
Right there. So one of the engines caught on fire. It's not that something like this hasn't happened before, but considering there's been 3 airline incidents this week, or plane incidents this week, now this is number 4. It is alarming and scary. Also, even though they were grounded, that still doesn't mean that they can't be, affected by this. There's a number of things, like you guys notice when you're on the plane and the plane lands. Remember, they tell you everyone stay seated until it's clear. They give you the okay for you to take your seatbelt off and this is because you never know what could happen, even when you have, that plane has decided to ground itself. Now, one second here. I want to go into, there's a little bit more with this story here. So they were able to pick this up on Live Now. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Houston, Texas plane engine catches on fire.
We are following some breaking news out of Houston, Texas, after a United airplane caught fire at Bush's airport right there. It did have to be evacuated. So far, no reports of any injuries, but I did want to share some video that's coming into our studio. Take a listen.
Oh my God. Please get us on. So sorry, this is jet.
All right, so that was some video right there that we did want to share with you from our Fox 26 Houston. Meanwhile, you are taking a live look at Houston, Texas right now. I did want to share some more information about the flight from Houston to New York that did have to be evacuated after it caught fire during takeoff. That's according to the FAA. And the very latest is that the FAA says the crew of United Airlines Flight 1382 had to stop their takeoff from George Bush Intercontinental.
Yeah. Sorry, let me just go forward here a little bit.
Engine issue. Flight 1382 had to stop their takeoff from George Bush Intercontinental.
Yeah, George Bush Intercontinental. Let me come back up here. Sometimes it does this with the video here.
Fox 26 Houston. Meanwhile, you are taking a live look at Houston, Texas right now. I did want to share some more information about the flight from Houston to New York that did have to be evacuated after it caught fire during takeoff. That's according to the FAA. And the very latest is that the FAA says the crew of United Airlines Flight 1382 had to stop their takeoff from George Bush Intercontinental Airport because of a reported engine issue that happened at around 8:35 a.m. local time this morning.
We're going to pause there because one of the things I do want to go ahead and address, I mean, plenty of people have already asked, like, does this have anything to do with Boeing? So for United Airlines, yes. Part of the body of the United Airline planes are Boeing, right? So like Boeing parts. And you guys know we've covered this before on the show about the 2 Boeing whistleblowers that were all of a sudden died right before they were supposed to testify. Boeing has been known to try to speed up manufacturing in order to make a buck. And this is what I want people to really take away from this, is that the reason why you're seeing this happen, whether it's the engines catch on fire or a wing of the plane falls off the plane, is because of capitalism, is because these companies are trying to speed up production as quickly as they can so that they can make more money. Even if that means that they are overlooking safety regulations. It's been happening for years. This is exactly why you had the 2 whistleblowers that were coming forward, and they had given statements which explained that, yeah, I saw them skip procedures, skip steps, just so they can get those parts out as quickly as possible. That is not okay, because when people get on a plane, they are putting their life at your disposal. I mean, the reality is they're trusting that the pilot is going to, fly safely, that the pilot is not going to be intoxicated. There's all that with the pilot, right? But then there's the actual plane that you're in. I mean, it's metal. You're in metal in the air. And in this situation, not even in the air, you're on the ground. You're still on the ground. So you are trusting that you are going to be okay and be able to make it safely to your destination. Now, of course, things happen, but some of these things can be avoided. The engine should not catch on fire. What would have happened if this plane would have already taken off and then the engine catches on fire? What do you do? So again, a lot of this goes back to capitalism. And I know not everybody that watches me is a socialist or a Marxist or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think all of us need to learn how to come to an agreement on the fact that profit seems to matter more than your safety. That's how you end up with these incidents with Boeing and other companies as well. Let's go ahead and go on a little bit more here.
We shared video acquired by Fox 26 Houston with you, showing that the wing of the plane caught on fire. And in that video, you heard a flight attendant asking for passengers to stay in their seats. One of those passengers pushing back, saying, "It's on fire." Now, some passengers did have to use the emergency slide to get off the plane. That's according to the Houston Fire Department. No injuries were reported, and the FAA currently investigating the situation. I also wanted to share this with you. This is a statement from the spokesperson of the FAA on this incident, saying, quote, "The crew of United Airlines Flight 1382 safely aborted its takeoff from the George Bush Intercontinental Houston Airport in Texas due to a reported engine issue at around 8:35 a.m. local time on Sunday. Passengers deplaned on the runway and were bused to the terminal. The Airbus A319 was flying to
LaGuardia. Yes, I don't know what's wrong with this video, but it was flying to LaGuardia Airport in New York. The FAA will investigate, contact the airline for additional information. Now, that's coming from the FAA spokesman, Steve Combe. So another thing I want to add here, when they talk about people evacuating the plane, I just want everyone to keep in mind that there are also people that have disabilities that need to fly for whatever reason, the same reason that you need to, and they may not be able to move as quickly to get off the plane in an evacuation situation, or they may look to someone next to them to say, "Can you help me?" Right? "Can you help me get off of this plane?" So keep that in mind as well. It's not just about, I think we're thinking about people who are able-bodied that can quickly just get up out of the seat and just hop away. You also got to think about those who are elderly that someone may have a cane, someone may have a walker, etc. They may need help. So again, there's no reason why in the United States of America we should continue to have these malfunctions other than the fact that profit. It's all about profit. Now, I do want to show you this as well. What are some of the reasons that an engine can catch on fire? So I think you might find this rather interesting. Let's bring this up here because I was curious and I just wanted to do a little bit of a dive. So this, do I have the right one? Yeah. This side here, it talks about like prevention strategies, what to do if it happens to you. And they're talking about fire, like on a plane. But I want to get to the part here about the engines, right? So the engine start, perhaps the most common type of aircraft fire is one that erupts during engine start. A cold weather start is a perfect scenario for an engine fire, particularly if we get carried away with the primer. Excess fuel makes its way into the carburetor intake. Then the engine backfires through the carburetor, igniting the fuel along with the dirty air filter. I don't know if that's exactly what happened with this situation at United Airlines, but I did want you to see just some of the issues that can cause this to happen, right? So, and then they tell you what to do if that situation takes place. They also go into electrical fires too, right? So it says electrical fires originate from electrical components. It says we can detect electrical fire before it really gets going. So that's a key note there. But it does say even here, once ignited, electrical fires burn just like any fire. One difference is that the heat from the energized electrical wiring or component that caused the fire might sustain it. For this reason, your first step, if you have an electrical fire, is to cut the power by turning off the master switch. By isolating the battery, alternator, generator, etc., we remove the ignition source and the fire should extinguish. So I thought this was interesting. One more part here, the engine fire, which is what you saw in the video. Detecting an in-flight engine fire may not be as easy as we think, but sometimes we can detect the fire's cause if we're observant. So listen to this. I want to highlight some of the things that can cause that as well. A drop in fuel pressure or fluctuating fuel pressure reading may suggest a broken fuel line, a common precursor to an engine fire. So one of the common causes of an engine fire on an airline is the broken fuel line. That's one of them. A rough running engine might be caused by a cracked cylinder, which can leak oil or hot gas and ignite a blaze. So we don't know the for sure reason with this particular incident in Houston, but what I will say is that it's just it's not good. Like, period. It's not good. Imagine being cleared for takeoff and that happens. It's scary. And then the passengers who have to evacuate, they're probably like, I don't know if I want to get back on another plane, And planes aren't for everyone. Now, do we have more, car accidents than we do airline accidents? Yes. So people will tell you a plane is safer than a car, but that doesn't, the incidents that we've had over the past week, that doesn't reassure someone who may be hesitant to fly. You know what I mean? Because people will tell you, even with a car accident, is that at least with a car, if there's a crash, you have a chance. Like, you don't have to worry about it because you're not in the air, that type of thing. But I think it speaks to something else. And I think we need to have this conversation, which is high-speed rail. This is another thing. The reason why a lot of people fly when they're traveling long distance is because it's faster by plane than it is by rail. We have Amtrak. It does what it does. I think Amtrak is good if you're going short distance. I usually take it like to New York. But I think if you're traveling from Houston, Texas to New York, obviously, if you were to take a train, that's probably going to take maybe 2 days at least. So think about that. We don't have high-speed rail here in the United States, and other countries have it. And to me, it doesn't make any sense. And Europe has been on this for years, right? Like you can literally in Europe, you can go from France to, let's say we'll go to France to UK, or from Germany to Italy. You can just get on the high speed rail. And that is an infrastructure problem that we don't have in this country. And I do wish we had high speed rail. Don't know if it will happen anytime soon. But what we're seeing happen with these planes back to back, it almost kind of feels like they don't want people to leave. Like, it almost kind of feels like they're trying to scare people because they don't want people to travel. And I don't know if we want to call that a conspiracy or not, but I do think it's weird. It's weird that they've all happened back to back like this, and all of them have been in the news. Makes you wonder. All right, let's go to some of the comments here, folks. Hey. Charles, this is getting scary. I have a few trips planned to Seattle, outside the country to Kenya. Yeah, I know how you feel, Charles. Yeah, man. I don't know. Thank you, Perry. An Air Force F-35 crashed 2 days ago in Alaska. The total F-35 program is budgeted at $2 trillion, and the planes are junk. I mean, it's you're in metal. Like, it's just tin metal in the air. Thank you, Zone. It's a bit troubling. Fox has essentially monopolized on mainstream media. Try Ground News, which helps provide nonpartisan media coverage and analytics. I've looked at Ground News. I wouldn't say it's nonpartisan, because they have people who are conservatives that report on Ground News, and they have people who are liberals that report on Ground News. I wouldn't say it's not biased. It's just that you get both sides in one place. Kip Doctor, Boeing has also outsourced most of its manufacturing, used to be mostly in-house. Oh, it used to be mostly in-house. There you go with that again. Thank you, Jaden. Hi, Sabby. What was the third plane accident again? It was the one in Alaska. I didn't get a chance to cover that one. I'm telling you guys, it's been going back to back to back with these plane crashes. It's crazy. And thank you, Zone. Have you seen Leave the World Behind, executive produced by the Obamas? Yes, I did see that. I did see that one. That was interesting. Oh my gosh, folks. Oh my darling. Oh my darling. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.